Now let's bring in the head that we're going to scatter onto. So tab, test geometry, and we've got a load of different pieces of geometry that you can play around with here. And I want the template head. Okay, so that's a, as you can see that's really small, so press spacebar and F, and that will focus on the object. And we got this lovely model of a head there. Okay, one thing, yeah, so we're going to be scattering all over the surface, and I don't want to scatter, there's this kind of space on the inside for the mouth. So I just want to delete that first of all. Well, no, before that actually, let's change the size. So you can see the size of this, the scale is kind of like about 10 centimeters. So I'm going to drop a match size. There it is. Couldn't see it for some reason. And just connect that up. Okay, that's going to center it for me. But I don't want it in the center. I want the minimum on the bottom, and then scale to fit a 1 by 1 by 1 box. But we want to change this to uniform scale, and that way you can see it just scales the Y and then everything else kind of in relation to that. So it's basically 1 tall now, 1 meter tall, which we can check in the geometry spreadsheet in the points. You can see so if you click this will show the highest numbers at the top. So the tallest point is 1 meter high, which is perfect. And then let's delete that kind of piece in the middle. This is handy. It has groups already. If we press I or middle mouse button there, you can see we got all these primitive groups. And we got this mouth bag thing. So just drop a delete or a blast, either one. And then go ahead and find the mouth bag, and you can see it just disappear there. Great. Now let's take a look at a new node in Houdini, which is called mask by feature. Okay. So this will generate a mask attribute on the points, I believe. I think it's on the points. Yeah. So you can see we've got a mask attribute there, and you can see it's already doing something, and it's setting an attribute to float between 0 and 1. And we can't see it yet. If we click on the gizmo there, then we'll start to see something. So right now it's a directional mask. So it's looking at basically polygons with the normals facing upwards, right? So you can see anything facing up gets a value of 1, and then kind of a blend between that and everything else. So I don't want to use that. I don't want to cast shadows. So anything, that's been caught, I want to turn that off. These are really handy. This would be good for, like trees, if you want certain plants growing on one side of a tree or something like that. But I'm going to turn that off. But I want to use this ambient occlusion. So, if you're familiar with, it's used more in games. Ambient occlusion is where light struggles to get into, so kind of crevices and gaps and things you can see in the nostrils there. So I'm going to be using this ambient occlusion. I'm going to give us some more samples. It will just make it a bit more accurate, basically. Push that up. Bias, so is it biased towards the negative or positive space kind of thing? I'm going to push that down to 0.1. Maybe blur this a bit more. I'm going to give ourselves some more geometry here. So drop a subdivide. And if your computer's struggling, you can just get rid of this. But I'm going to push that up to 3. We'll get a load of geometry. Still only 300,000 points, so it's not too much. We'll just get a bit more accuracy with that. Okay, and basically I want the opposite here. So red here will be values of 1 and 0 here, but I want it to be the opposite. We're going to be scattering points onto this surface, putting loads of points based on this mask. We're using this mask to tell our program to scatter more points where it's red and less where it's white. Okay, and then when we come to make our image, we want lots and lots of detail around the eyes, nose and mouth and ears so that we can see these forms, and then we can have less detail out here. So we need the opposite, basically. So what we can do is remap the ambient occlusion mask. Okay, so we're generating an ambient occlusion mask. We want to remap it. So we take those 0 to 1 values. Okay, now they are, what have I done? Geometry spreadsheet, and then now they are 0 to 1 values, and then we can remap it. That visualizer kind of disappears when you leave the gizmo there. You can see we generate a mask, a visualizer there. If you don't have that visualizer, you can come here, click on the information, and then click on mask. And any attribute here, if you click on it, it will generate a visualizer for you. So click on the mask and it will make it for you. So let's look at this remap. So I'm going to drop this down. So we've got values coming in at 0 to 1, and it's going to take, so for example, it will take any value which is 1, and then it will bring it down to, for example, 0.5. Okay, so now the values which were, why does that keep happening? Values which were 1 are now 0.5, and a kind of gradual blend down to here. So what I want to do is take any value which is coming in, from here at 0, and change that to 1, and the values which were 1, change them to 0. We just lost that again. Just click that. There we go. So we're getting the inverse of that. So if I turn that off, that's what happens. We get the opposite. Okay. So that's basically it. We'll probably come back and play around with this ramp a bit more, but we'll do that later on.